Hey everyone, welcome back to another review. This one for the newest Marvel movie, Captain Marvel.
Respect, come on, show some respect. Captain
Okay.
Marvel.
So, let's just get this out of the way. We just want to talk about the controversy surrounding this movie. We don't agree with anything. We just want a good movie, you know what I mean? The whole Brie Larson situation, if you're not familiar with it, you can look it up yourself. We're not going to waste any more time talking about it because it's honestly not worth it. With that said, let's move on to the review. Captain Marvel, this is now the 20th MCU movie?
Probably.
20th?
Who's keeping track at this point? Well, millions of people actually. But
Yeah, I've been kind of excited about this. Captain Marvel isn't really my favorite Marvel character or anywhere near there, just because in the comics she's very one-dimensional, not really much going on. And I don't know, for me, the trailers weren't too surprising. I thought the scrolls were really cool. Kind of excited for that, but other than that, nothing really to look forward to here.
here's my thing, right? Marvel has been getting better and better. This is kind of my objective view. I don't think they're personally getting better, but from an objective standpoint, I think they've been getting better and better and better, right? And I think that they reached their peak with Infinity War, and after this, they're either never going to satisfy our expectations again, or they're just going to run out of ideas and make really shitty movies. Also, the fact that, a lot of these movies that, push an SJW agenda typically don't go over so well because the agenda is usually the only thing on people's minds. I was a bit worried, but I mean, people have addressed this a lot, and it's kind of become an established thing. So I was kind of worried, kind of half not worried, but overall I was kind of skeptical about this movie.
Yeah, and coming right out of the gate with the film, there was really no agenda being pushed here, film-wise, which I really liked. It's kind of the Wonder Woman situation where there's a bunch of talk about the female power, whatever, but there really wasn't anything super, offensively controversial about this. Which,
Thank Jesus.
That's okay, which is, again, I don't understand the controversy, but besides that, the movie itself, I didn't like. I did not like this movie. I would probably put it as one of the worst Marvel movies. I mean, Ant-Man and the Wasp was a very disappointing film last year, and I would probably put this right alongside it with just how objectively it had so many problems. So I guess, let's start with positives first, just get that out of the way, and then we can move on to negatives, because there are a pretty hefty amount.
Well, I thought the trailer was really good. No, my positive, I thought that, I guess it looked decent. We didn't have a Black Panther situation going on, but
I think the production design was pretty good.
it was tolerable, and I wasn't like, ooh, wow, this looks like a PS2 video game. But it wasn't any Infinity War or Doctor Strange or anything like that. Some of the maybe 2 or 3 jokes were pretty funny, and the makeup was what are they called again?
The scrolls?
That's what the green people are.
Yeah.
Yeah, the scrolls look pretty good.
Yeah, I thought they were the highlight of the movie for me.
Sometimes they were CGI, and that looked really weird. But other times they were just kind of normal most of the time. That's about it.
So yeah, the scrolls were actually a highlight for me. I really liked their design, and I thought there was a main scroll character that I really enjoyed, and he was the only one that could land jokes in the movie, which also was really weird for a Marvel movie, but we'll get to that later. And then, as we said before, the production design was pretty good. I don't agree that the CG was very good, especially near the end when every Marvel movie there's a huge CG fest near the end, and this one was not very good. I wouldn't say it was Black Panther level bad. Kind of looked like a DC movie at some point.
Definitely had DC vibes.
Yeah. There's no terminal illness I had by the end of it, which was cool. That's a nice thing to not have after a movie. Let's just move on to negatives.
Yeah, let's move on to negatives.
Okay, first off, Brie Larson. Very disappointing. She's a extremely talented actress. And in this film, she's just not good. I don't know what it is. That partly to do with the writing, which we'll get into, but her performance was weird. Her comedic timing was bad. Her delivery was bad. And just overall, I mean, she just didn't fit in the character of Captain Marvel very well. And that's nothing on Brie Larson. I just spoke for she's so talented. It was very confusing to me that her performance wasn't the best in this thing.
Mm-hmm. I think it was just a poor casting choice, I'll be honest. I just don't think she fit what they had written for Captain Marvel. I just don't think Brie Larson... And I really don't understand what they were thinking. I mean, if I would have written Captain Marvel, Brie Larson would have never come into my head. I wouldn't be like, oh, Brie Larson, perfect. I would have thought of a million other people.
Yeah.
So I think that it really wasn't on her, and I think she really did try her best. You know, she definitely put in some effort to try and match what they wrote, but I think it was an ill-placed casting
100%.
choice. That's...
Also, I guess to move on to the writing, which was a huge issue I had in this film. You know, say what you want about Marvel, but they're either A, kind of like, you know, a little on top of their directors, but let them do their thing, like, example, James Gunn with Guardians, the Guardians series. Or they're just completely like, the director's my bitch, like Peyton Reed with Ant-Man. In this film, it was weird because, they're always on top of everything, and there's so many technical flaws with this thing. The writing is extremely bad, and camera-wise, the consistency of the shots, it's so jarring, a lot of the shots.
Mm-hmm.
But let's go to writing first. So writing, what the fuck? This was like the most unfunny Marvel movie ever. You know, when you go to a Marvel movie, you can at least expect to laugh, you know, most of the time. But this shit was very, very weak.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what was going on here. Story-wise, very weak. Character-wise, with Captain Marvel, I know we said Brie Larson's performance wasn't the best, but also her character, the character of Captain Marvel, the main character of this movie, was so boring. She was very one-dimensional. You know, there was actually a really cool part to which, a lot of people will probably think this is like the more feminist side of the movie, but the parts where she's kind of getting stepped on and like, you know, being, you know, one-upped by a lot of people, I actually thought that was like the most interesting part about her character. And they really never explore that at all. She just stays as like this brick wall. With this movie, I mean, she was flawless, pretty much. And, you know, they kept saying, oh, you let your emotions get in the way. A lot of times they say that in the movie. There's like, she never does that. I don't know what they're talking about.
Never fucked her up. In fact, her emotions, I feel like, made her more powerful.
And even then, she barely has any.
Yeah.
So, not power, emotions. She has plenty of power, which, let me get into that. This is the Lucy problem with a lot of these female-led action movies. The female lead is like this super overpowered person, which makes it like there's no threat, you know? There's no threat in the movie at all. I don't know. I think with this, their big, full female superhero, it's disappointing.
In this movie, it's just brute force and strength, just throwing energy beams all over the place and killing people. There's no real, you know, intellectual thought being put into what's going on here. So
let's move on to the camera stuff. Angles-wise, obviously the movie's bland. Look-wise, as every Marvel movie is, except Guardians, which best Marvel movie.
But every movie, you know, actually, Infinity War had pretty good camera angles.
Yeah,
and
actually,
Doctor
the
Strange
Russo
was,
brothers,
trippy as well.
The Russo brothers do a good job of you know, adding some variety,
Yeah,
some
like their dicks.
signature. Well, okay.
While they're filming the camera, I'll like the dicks. But this one, I hate. Okay, look, I love Rogue One, but I gotta shit on it a little bit. I hate these big action movies that try to look indie with the little shaky cam and the dramatic scenes. You know, like it's like, oh, it's a handheld cam and they're talking. And then other times they have the, you know, like the big motion shot. It's just really inconsistent.
Yeah, the shots themselves are just always centered, you know, either on a tripod or, as I said, the little cheap indie handheld bullshit. Everything, it just gets tiring after a while. I mean, this is the 20th Marvel movie. I hope it's the 20th movie, so it's the 20th. It's getting a little stale. I hope they, you know, Marvel needs to add something signature to their movies now, because it's really starting to get old.
Like the Russo brothers did.
Yes, or James Gunn, but he's gone now, so.
He got gunned down.
Shot-wise, there's some weird shots. There's like tilted weird ones. There's like off-centered, but like not in a good way, not in an interesting way. Shots, and then consistency-wise, there's a ton of like you said. You mentioned this, like different hairstyles. I caught a lot of like, literally they're just in like completely different positions. And like the next shot, it looks like a trailer.
And also, fuck you, action shots. The shaky action Hunger Games shots, shit. I mean, fucking hell. It's like, oh, look, there's action. Oh. Gotta fix the microphone.
I mean, camera, script. There's acting. There's so many basic flaws that I feel like Marvel should have already mastered by now, which they've shown they have. That's why it's very confusing why so much of this movie is just basic problems. Mm-hmm. Another negative I have, real quick, the audio was extremely weird in this movie. Did you catch that?
Audio?
Yes.
Oh.
The music was up and down. A lot of times...
You mean the mixing and stuff?
Yeah, the mixing was weird, and the editing. Mainly the mixing. It was very low sometimes during action scenes, even though like the punching was loud.
I noticed that.
I don't really want to nitpick more because at this point, I mean, you get the idea. This movie has a lot of problems, and overall, it's it's kind of a negative experience. I mean, I really wouldn't recommend this, and I certainly wouldn't recommend it as like somebody's first Marvel movie, and I certainly wouldn't recommend it as a like a female-led movie. I don't think any of that is strong at all.
I'm gonna fucking nitpick. I don't give a shit about you. I'm gonna nitpick. Fuck the 90s bullshit, alright? 2010s, right? 80s everywhere. And I'm sick of it. 80s suck anyway. Fuck those. But now it's 2020, so now we gotta go to the 90s now. And so they had a bunch of 90s shit like Smashing Pumpkins and PJ Harvey posters all over. She was wearing a Nine Inch Nails shirt throughout the whole thing, and Samuel Jackson goes, "Oh, nice grunge shirt." And I'm like,
it's not really grunge. I mean,
they freaking play "Come As You Are" on a vinyl record at one point, and then they have this old lady dancing to it, and it was the most uncomfortable,
without
and
any
cringy thing.
It does, if you haven't seen the movie without subtext, you'll be like, "What the fuck?" But even if you're watching a movie, it's like, "What
You're
the
gonna
fuck?"
be like, "What the fuck is that?"
They have like a fight scene, and they put they plug a song in there that's supposed to be like, "Oh, jammy, feel good pop song,"
Yeah, that was
and
just
it's
terrible.
really bad. So overall,
This is my like this. And what do you think of this movie?
I'm gonna go ahead and give this a 3 out of 10, and that's actually, I mean, this thing has some good parts of it, and overall it's somewhat competent. I mean, it's watchable, but I mean, man, there are a lot of flaws with this thing.
I would give it a 5. For me, I was just like, this is just another action movie. I think for Marvel fans, I recommend this less. Because I feel like for Marvel fans, it'll frustrate you guys more because there's been a lot of passionate craft put into these past films over the past 3 years. I think the past 3 years, Marvel has been just knocking it out of the park every time. But, well, yeah, not with a few exceptions, but, in terms of like Infinity War and Winter Soldier and Civil War.
I mean, I agree with that. Like, passion-wise, every film before this, there's an obscene amount of passion behind the scenes.
This one, I was just really confused, and I feel like they had some things that they wanted to get accomplished, but for one, they didn't appeal to any Marvel fans, and two, the things that they tried that they really wanted to try out just didn't really work, or they didn't really follow through. So, as a normal moviegoer, I wouldn't recommend it just kind of generally, but as a Marvel fan, I definitely would say you're not going to like it.
Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed the review. Kind of sucks that this was a negative one, but what are you gonna do? We just want good movies to come out, so we gotta do it.
Salute, Captain Marvel.